Excellent. Is this on? Great. Welcome, everyone. Bienvenido the Fireside Chat. Hrish, great to see you.
Great to see you, too, Sean.
So
it's awesome to be here. It's like, it's surreal, you know?
So Hrish and I first met back in 1995. We went to the same university, and we're in the same sort of dormitory as well. So I've known him for a very, very long time. Now, I can't exactly see hands out here, but when I first met Hrish, he had what I thought was one of the most interesting jobs that a person could have. So I'm going to give you three options, 1, 2, or 3. I want people to raise their hands, and then we'll see. Hrish will tell us which one was correct. So, number 1, did Hrish work as a personal trainer in the gym on campus? So that's number 1. Number 2, did Hrish harvest eyeballs from people who had recently died? Or number 3, did Hrish work at the cafeteria serving me food every morning? So, number 1, the gym. Okay, a few hands. Number 2, harvesting eyeballs. Okay, number 3, work in the cafeteria serving me food every morning. Okay, Hrish, can you tell us which one it was?
Eyeballs. I used to surgically remove eyes for transplant surgery in college. That was a pretty unique job. Paid really well, actually, for a college student.
Yeah. So Hrish had, you might have heard of these, they're called beepers. So they're old-fashioned cell phones, and he had one of those and would be alerted to go help. So crazy. Now, Hrish is not doing that anymore. He's on to bigger and better things in the metaverse now. And so, Hrish, you set up a company called SuperWorld. Please tell us just a little bit about what SuperWorld is, how it works.
Sure. SuperWorld is a virtual world mapped on top of the real world. We're in it right now. It's all around us. If I come to Madrid, London, New York, Los Angeles, Tokyo, anywhere in the world, you could say, Hrish, why don't you check out my world? And I could walk around and you've left me things. You've left a hologram of yourself, totally interactive, I can talk to you. You've left photos and videos in different places. You've left messages at your favorite restaurants. You've left NFTs all over the world for me to discover and buy content. And then we've divided the surface of the Earth into 64 billion properties of virtual real estate. You can buy any place in the world, including La Neve. You can buy, the favorite monuments in the world that you love, the places you go on vacation, literally any place on world, and you, again, become a stakeholder there and benefit from all of the activity and monetization that happens in that location from anyone and everyone that creates content and monetization there. And then on top of that, we're building applications. We have a data strategy, which I call Live to Earn. And the mission of SuperWorld is to empower people and to build a better world, to enhance humanity. So it's an opportunity for all of us to build a SuperWorld together.
Great. And the first entry point for anyone is you can go in and you can buy a 100-meter by 100-meter square of what reflects onto real world as well. So it looks like a Google map. You can go in and you can buy a square. So I pulled some numbers from it. So Times Square is available for 88 Ether, which is about 150,000 euros. So someone bought it and is trying to sell it now. Remember, everything sells for originally 0.1 Ether, is that right?
That's right.
So 0.1 Ether, which I think is, what is that? That's 150 euros or so. So that's the initial entry point. So that's the most expensive one. Just so you know, the Bernabeu is available for sale for 100 Ether, which is 200,000 euros. So if you want to go in and own the SuperWorld Real Madrid football team, 200,000 euros. Camp Nou, just so you know, is not for sale. So I don't know what that means about Barca versus Real Madrid, but someone wants to make money at Real Madrid, the Barca person just wants to hold it and not sell it. Now, Hrish did mention, and I'm putting a challenge forward to anyone here. So La Nave, if you go into superworld.com or .net, SuperWorld?
Superworldapp.com.
Superworldapp.com. La Nave is available, 0.1 ETH. Everyone goes in and buys it during the session. We'll see if it's still for sale. We'll come up stage, we'll take a photo with Hrish, and we'll mint that as an NFT to put into La Nave. So we'll see it in real action now. So I challenge someone to splurge on 150 euros, 200 euros or so, and purchase La Nave. So superworldapp.net. Take a look. Now, Hrish, while we're waiting for people to furiously open up their browser and go to the website and purchase it, can you tell us a little bit about the origin story, how you came up with this? Because you've not been doing Metaverse for the last 25 years.
Yeah, that's right. We started SuperWorld about 5 years ago, but my quick zip through my background is, we went to college together. I ended up in management consulting, investment banking. I started off in real estate investment banking of all places, so kind of come from the traditional real estate finance world. Got into venture capital, was involved in a venture capital fund in Europe that I helped start. Was early at a talent platform called TopTal, which is backed by Andreessen. It's a global talent marketplace. And after that, previously to SuperWorld, I started Rogue Initiative Studios, which is a film, television, gaming, and virtual reality studio in Hollywood. My co-founder had produced Call of Duty, Modern Warfare series, and Ghost. My production partner is Michael Bay, the action director, who's known for Transformers, The Island, Armageddon, big action movies. And so we started doing franchises. What we're working on there is franchises, feature film, television, gaming, immersive entertainment. What we realized is the world of content, as we all know, is really converging. A feature film and an interactive game and an immersive piece of content is all being produced in engines, right? Content is becoming the same. You can create assets in Unreal Engine or Unity and take those content pieces and put them anywhere, in linear all the way to interactive immersive entertainment. And then what happened was, about 6 years ago, as we know, as the world knows, Pokemon Go came out. Right? And it really demonstrated that you could put content in real-world places and make that content very compelling. People would, rush to go to places in the real world. And that is where my co-founder and I really thought, what if you could be interested in fashion? What if you were interested in movies or travel or history? How could we empower anyone to create, discover, and monetize anything anywhere? How could we empower people to build their own virtual filter on the world? And then we inputted Web3 into that. What if you could own the places in the world that you love, be a stakeholder in those places, as well as, again, be a stakeholder in the content that you're creating in all those places? And that was kind of the origin story of SuperWorld.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Can you tell us, give us some stats? So how big is the team? Where are you located? How many what are people spending? Tell us a little bit about sort of the metrics.
So, again, we started a while ago, and as everyone knows, I think the last couple of years we've seen a lot of interest in being more virtual. COVID sociologically is, again, made us more comfortable with virtual environments. NFT mania, the Metaverse, with Facebook kind of renaming itself, really created this interest in the space, and particularly what we're doing. So we've expanded a lot in the last year and a half or so. We're about a team of 50 now, very distributed. My COO, Martin, is here, so if you see him, he actually lives in Malaga, so we have a very strong Spanish connection. And the thing that we track right now in terms of kind of where we are as a company is, what does the average user, what does the average customer do when they come to SuperWorld? And what we're seeing is the average customer, comes in and within the first month spends about $4,000, does about, 10 to 15 transactions. And we're also seeing that, the story is very viral. So people, again, it's a foregone conclusion that if you buy land in SuperWorld, you're going to, again, refer about 5.6 new customers to SuperWorld. And the reason for that is, I would say that we're not just building a technology company. We've built a very galvanized community. And our mission, again, for everyone who's understanding this vision that I'm kind of helping to build with all of you, it is, how can we build a virtual world that enhances people's real lives? I call it live to earn. How can we use tokenomics to enhance what people love to do? And then how can we collectively build a better world? And I think a lot of that is not just technology, but that is community. That is people coming together, believing that mission, buying land, that's the entry point, and then wanting to create NFTs, wanting to create content, wanting to, again, be involved in, the organizations that we've partnered with, like the World Bank, the UN, organizations and communities that want to, again, improve the world. And we believe that, and that's, I think, the driving force behind the mission.
And we'll come back to improving the world, because it is an important thing. But what's the most whimsical, sort of fun thing that people have done in SuperWorld where you're like, oh, I didn't expect that. This is fun, crazy.
Yeah. The thing that I think is very interesting about activities that are happening in SuperWorld are that people want to stay in the real world, right? And that's a big part of our mission. And so they're doing things together in the physical analog world. SuperWorld is not about sucking you into a virtual platform. It's about using these technologies to enhance your real life. So one of the first things that was done, which I thought was amazing, was artists got together in Central Park. So there was an artist that owned land in Central Park, brought together all of his artist friends to create digital art, and the art corresponded to the art that, again, they have physically as well in art galleries. And so they started, again, doing that. We did the same thing at Art Basel, Miami Art Week. So we had artists putting artwork at Miami Art Week who weren't even there at Miami Art Week. And we were covered in the New York Times for that. And I would say the other thing that's really cool, two more things. One, we did a 3D yacht that pulled into Monaco Harbor at the Monaco Yacht Show. Someone bought the 3D yacht, and that gave them access to certain things at the show and access to the physical yacht when it's built. And then finally, we had tribes in the Amazon jungle, which I didn't even realize tribes in the Amazon jungle have access to smartphones, but it just shows you the access that augmented reality has in terms of accessibility. They created digital artwork in the jungle that anyone could view from anywhere in the world to understand the issues of reforestation. And so, again, anything is possible, and the creativity of people is what we're empowering. So I'm very excited about that.
So it's amazing stuff, and some great examples there. Thank you. So I'm an investor. I should have said that up front. Based in London, do tech investing. We do a lot of different things. We invested in Spain, all over Europe. The core thing is to invest in businesses that fix broken customer experiences. But we touch on, and we always have invested in games and games technology as well, right? So we've been following this metaverse thing for quite a while. And people come up to me, they say, Sean, what does the metaverse mean to you? And I don't have a great answer. So actually what I wanted to do was borrow your time, Hrish, and say, what does the metaverse mean to you? What is Roblox part of the metaverse? Is Second Life metaverse? Is Facebook metaverse?
Yeah. I think that, again, the metaverse is a very expansive term. It is the kind of the next evolution of the internet. It is the internet as well. There's a good friend of mine named Tony Parisi who has the 7 rules of the metaverse, which I highly recommend you checking that out. Definitely agree with. There's very simple 7 rules that kind of define it. But in my own words, I will say that, again, what's interesting about the metaverse, it is the kind of again, the connection between the physical world and the virtual world, right? And so currently, you're doing a lot of things in your physical life, maybe even coming here, right? Or going on a run in the morning, or going and eating breakfast somewhere. And you don't really think about those things in terms of this overall physical, virtual, physical kind of connection. However, what's going to happen very soon is when you enter that coffee shop in the morning, you might scan a QR code and get an NFT, right? You might be able to use that NFT to become part of a community at that coffee shop. That might just be called a ticket or a loyalty program, but now you're kind of interacting in a Web3 environment, right? And so a lot of the technology, whether it's AR, where we're using glasses, you might not think of that as AR anymore. You might just think about that as the world. Just as you maybe look at a furniture in your IKEA app or something, you don't think about it as AR. So a lot of the technology is going to be abstracted away, but I think what's really important is when people understand that this technology exists, and then they start accessing it in ways that provide real-world utility. And when that technology starts getting abstracted away, and they really think of the utility, and now they are utilizing physical, virtual, physical linkages all the time, that is what I think of the metaverse. And there are people, all of us, in different ways that have already started doing that. And soon you're going to be buying an NFT, which is going to get you property in the real world. We sell NFTs that give access to real world, experiences, or vice versa. So that's going to become more and more of your life, and that's the metaverse for me.
Now, Hrish, I'm not asking you to opine on someone who's way smarter than us, Mark Zuckerberg and Meta, but what I didn't hear you mention at all was VR, virtual reality. How does that tie into your version of the metaverse?
Yeah, so again, in SuperWorld, I say that we're mapped on top of the real world. And so, a really easy way to think about that is augmented reality, because you're augmenting real world surroundings. However, the type of content that you can augment the real world with could be VR, could be XR, MR. We use a catch-all XR term for this, right? So VR is very much part of the metaverse. So is a WebGL environment in the browser. The idea is the type of content that you can produce and access and discover and monetize in, whether you're creating an avatar or you're the avatar in the real world, as an example. All of this is part of the metaverse. So I think VR is definitely part of it. Yeah.
Awesome. Now, you touched a little bit on the Amazon tribes, but I think you had mentioned to me backstage, you're doing some things with the World Bank, UNESCO. Tell us a little bit about those.
Yeah, so, a big part of our mission, which I think really differentiates, how we think about this, is, again, this is a very, expansive, transformational set of technologies. And we all recognize that there's a lot of things that are challenges in the real world that we can actually come together as a society, as a world, and leverage these technologies in a way that can help us, solve, alleviate, educate, provide accessibility, again, try to resolve and solve these challenges that we have on a very global level, whether they're education, financial, governance. We could even, potentially stop wars from happening if we could work together as a world and really, use these technologies. And so we've partnered with a variety of organizations, even very early in our history, the World Bank, UNESCO, to help rebuild cities like Beirut, Lebanon. We raised capital, raised money for hurricane disaster relief. Barbados is actually building an embassy in SuperWorld. So they've recognized, I had breakfast with the mayor of Chicago a few weeks ago, the mayor of Miami. So governments are really recognizing the opportunity here. But I think the big vision here, and again, to that question, is we all can come into SuperWorld and build a world together, again, create, discover, and monetize, but at the same time use this technology to actually enhance our world, our physical world. So when you buy land in SuperWorld, we plant trees in the real world, as an example. We've partnered with these organizations to help organizations around the world really come together and mobilize.
And Hrish, we prepped on a few questions, but this one is out of the blue a little bit. I noticed you're wearing the Ukraine flag. I also know you used to live in the Ukraine for a long time, and your wife is from Ukraine as well. Is there anything that SuperWorld is doing with respect to what's taking place there?
Yeah. So one of the things that we're doing is enabling, people around the world to put imagery and content from what's happening in Ukraine in their skylines. So you can see what is happening and empathize with, the destruction, the situations that are very real in these other parts of the world. And what that does is it educates people about, the situation in Ukraine, allows them to get involved and active. And so there's ways to utilize Web3 and content to, again, help people understand and be educated, whether it's about Ukraine or literally any kind of situation that's happening in the world. And so that's one of the things that we're doing.
Amazing, amazing.
Yeah.
I think we've got about a minute left. I don't know if anyone had a question from the audience while Hrish is here. Oh, sorry, before that, has anyone bought La Nave on SuperWorld? Raise your hand. Did anyone manage to do it? Okay, still some work to be done on the UI then, Hrish, to get it done faster, I think. Okay, but we'll take one question. I don't know if anyone has a burning desire.
Got to connect your wallet.
Yeah. Feel free, yeah.
Yeah.
So the question is, what happens with other virtual worlds coming in? How do you sort of respond competitively, I suppose?
Yeah, it's a great question. It comes up quite a bit. And I think ultimately, as you're thinking about any virtual world, whether it's Sandbox, Decentraland, SuperWorld, obviously we're mapped on top of the real world. There's differences. Ultimately, these are communities, right? And people get together in a community, whether it's in the physical world like Madrid, maybe you live in Madrid, maybe you live somewhere else. Ultimately, people come on board. They believe in the mission, the values, They buy real estate in SuperWorld. Now they're building content in SuperWorld. And so, again, the technology is one part of this. Anyone can build another technology, can utilize these technologies. The technology is always evolving. Ultimately, this is a group of people that have come together around a mission, a purpose, a set of values. And so that is really kind of what SuperWorld's about. And there are other worlds. And what we've found is we've created this gateway. So people know where they live, they know where they go on vacation, they buy a place, and then they want to get into crypto, DeFi, NFTs, other virtual worlds. And so we're very close with all of the virtual worlds out there. Many of the founders of the other virtual worlds are very directly linked with myself and SuperWorld. And so we want to provide that gateway to other platforms and worlds.
Awesome. Hrish, thank you very much. It's great to see you again. Thank you, everyone.
Awesome. Thanks for being here.